I thought what I'd do is just tell you a little bit about our museum, give you a little bit of an overview of our volunteer programme. And then I wanted to kind of like take a deeper dive into a couple of projects that we've been working on for the last few years to really try and encourage opportunities for intergenerational volunteering, learning and skills exchange at SIM via our volunteer programme and our placement programme. So I will be reading from some notes to keep me on track, but more than happy to have a bit of a discussion or take questions at the end. So the Science and Industry Museum, for anybody who's not aware, is part of the Science Museum Group. So we're a collection of science-based museums across the country. And we have a shared ambition, which is to inspire a future generation of STEM professionals. So our collections, all of our programming, our stories, our events all focus around science, technology, engineering and maths. And we at Manchester are really lucky because we have an amazing collection of buildings. So we are on the site of what is the world's oldest surviving passenger railway station now in the world, and we've still got the beautiful station building, and we've got a wonderfully unique collection of buildings which are all grade 1 and grade 2 listed buildings. And so the story of how our museum, the story of the site in terms of the birth of the railways and the Industrial Revolution is something that we are incredibly passionate about, communicating to all of our visitors. And we do a lot of work to look after our buildings like we do our collections as well. So if you've not been to visit our museum and you're in Manchester, please do pop along and come and see us. So at the moment, we have around 150 volunteers at SIM, so around 150 active volunteers who come in on a regular basis. The programme is managed by myself and our wonderful volunteer coordinator, Jessica White. And we have volunteers in around 15 different roles at the moment. So we have volunteers who are out and about on gallery, engaging visitors and enriching the visitor experience. And then we also have volunteers who work really hard in their volunteer roles behind the scenes, helping us to maintain and restore some of our collections and also research them as well. We also manage a really varied placement programme within our volunteer programme remit at the museum. So I support placements, whether they are educational placements, work experience, unpaid internships, or whether they are community-based placements as well. And we are super lucky to have a really diverse volunteer team at SIM in terms of various demographics, but in particular, relevant to what I want to talk to you about today, we have a really great opportunity to encourage intergenerational volunteering because we are very lucky to have volunteers of different age ranges at the museum. And this, well, I say we're lucky, we are lucky, we're lucky that we've got lots of people of different age ranges that we've been able to connect with and engage with. But this has been very much due to a lot of strategic work by myself and my team at the museum over the last 8 years. So we actually now kind of skew the norm in terms of our age ranges of volunteers. We do have a strong presence of volunteers who are over the age of 60 and who I guess many of us see as traditional museum volunteers, but we now have a high percentage of young volunteers, including students and young professionals at the museum. So there is great potential within these age ranges to promote intergenerational exchange. And we are seeing that through different projects, which I'm going to come on to in a moment. So, first of all, before I dive into those two projects, those two case studies, I thought it might be worth us just kind of tracking back a little bit and thinking about why is it so important for us to encourage intergenerational exchange, in our museums, in our organisations. Well, there are many benefits for all who are involved. I think in particular, talking to many of our mature volunteers, they really relish the opportunity to be able to share their skills and experiences with others, especially with young people who are at early stages of their career journeys. And it gives them an opportunity in a way to leave a legacy with us at the museum as well. They also are really interested in the opportunity to be part of safeguarding and preserving heritage skills and knowledge at our museum. We find quite often when we ask them to support us and join us in pieces of work around intergenerational learning. It's a really great way for them to make new connections, and we found that it can also be helpful in removing some anxiety that we found some of our older communities can have in regard to young people, which has been really lovely to see in itself. And of course, they can learn new skills. Lifelong learning, we never stop learning, and they do really enjoy the opportunity to find out, sort of like what is happening in the world of industry at the moment, what new technologies around, how can they use it. So lots of them feed back to us that it helps them to remain active and supports their overall well-being as well. And our younger demographic get like a really unique opportunity to learn from individuals with lived industry experience and knowledge of industry as well. They also have opportunities to develop lasting relationships, which we are seeing at SIM. We're seeing lovely examples of mentorship, and that thinking about bridging and building those community connections. It can also help to combat some of the negative misconceptions younger people can have around older generations. So again, for us, it's a great tool to bring communities together. Which is really wonderful. And for me, the more diverse our programme is in terms of all demographics, the better. It's so much to enrich our programme. We can learn an amazing amount from all of our volunteers who bring a variety of experiences, interests and perspectives. And our visitors really enjoy being able to connect with people of all different age ranges, from all different backgrounds, who makes them feel like the museum is a place for them, a home for them, so to speak. So, for us at SIM, there are a few reasons why we really decided to give some thought to how we could encourage more of this intergenerational learning and exchange in a structured way at the museum. And one of them is to help us ensure that we can retain specialist heritage skills and knowledge at the museum that is at risk of being lost. And I will dive into that a little bit more in a moment. It's really important for us to help us to care for our collections, in particular our moving objects, so safeguarding the future of our collections for generations to come. It's also incredibly important for us to support Manchester and the government's commitments to helping young people upskill, bridging the STEM skills gap, and building stronger communities. And we really want our audiences to be able to connect with our collection stories, exhibitions, events, public programme, no matter what age range they fall into. So, our case studies. First project I want to talk to you about is linked to our Power Hall building, where we saw an opportunity to really think about how we could encourage intergenerational learning in a very sort of like structured and strategic way. So, first of all, I would like to say that this was a very unique opportunity and a situation which gave us a moment where we could actually completely pause some of our volunteer roles, rethink them, get strategic, and then build them back better with the help of our audiences of all ages. Now, I know this opportunity doesn't come around often, but I still wanted to share it with you because hopefully you might take some inspiration from it. So, over the last 2 years, we've created a whole suite of new historic machinery volunteer roles, opportunities, and a brand new T-level placement programme at SIM as part of a wider engagement piece of work focused around a huge project which saw our beloved Power Hall Gallery reopen last October after being closed for 6 years for a huge amount of restoration and conservation work, including a brand new gallery. So this unique opportunity gave us space and scope to create new roles from scratch, but with a very different approach. So instead of being led by our business needs and the operational needs of the museum, or even by our own vision for these roles, for the first time ever, we actually reached out to key stakeholders, industry professionals, and our volunteering community to help us shape and create 4 new roles and a placement offer, which we launched last year. By taking this approach and consulting with experienced volunteers, retired industry professionals, so of course of an older age range, and also bringing in young students starting out in their career journey, we've been able to see intergenerational collaboration within this project from the very start. So before volunteer roles were even signed off, before they even hit the gallery floor, we brought specifically different generations together to help us shape a collection of new volunteer roles and opportunities. Recruitment to the new roles was also targeted and specific, working with our marketing and comms team, different networks, communities, and various partners across the city to engage a wide audience with these opportunities. So via video blogs, open days, press stories, and articles. This has attracted a really mixed demographic in terms of age ranges into our new technical roles. It's been a huge success in particular, where we're seeing volunteers who are starting out in the early stages of their careers, and even young volunteers who are new to the UK, being able to learn alongside a generation of retired and highly skilled engineers. As part of this work, I also just mentioned that we launched our first ever technical level placement programme at the museum, working in partnership with the Manchester College. And we are now supporting their students, offering engineering and technical placements in our technical team. So this has created further opportunities for us to bring in young people into our volunteer programme, who we are teaming up with retired professionals who are actually now mentoring the students and sharing their lived knowledge of the industrial sector. This has been a fantastic way to encourage intergenerational learning. Our retired volunteers really feel like they're able to make a difference in terms of inspiring future generations of technical professionals, and our students are connecting with a wealth of experience and knowledge they would really struggle to find anywhere else. So moving on to the second case study, I'd like to talk to you about some work that is very much still ongoing with our baby computer volunteer team, where we're trying to do things a little bit differently again. So our Whipple objects, one of our star objects at the museum is called Baby. Can be a little bit confusing if you are not, if you don't know a lot about computers, which I didn't when I first joined the museum. But it's actually a working replica of the first ever computer to hold stored memory. It's got huge connections to Manchester and Manchester University. And for years, it's been cared for, demonstrated, updated, and all areas of technical issues have been covered by, you guessed it, a long-standing team of volunteers. Volunteers who are all retired from industry and over the age of 60. In recent years, our curatorial department and myself have become increasingly concerned about the loss of skills and knowledge we will see when some of our wonderful volunteers decide to finally retire from the museum. They themselves have also been bringing this to our attention as well, as they are super keen to ensure that we are well equipped to care for baby long after they have left. So, with this in mind, 18 months ago, I decided to start a piece of work, bringing the current team on board from the start to strategically plan a recruitment and a training programme for new volunteers to join the team. Working with the team's curatorial supervisor, we were able to test some targeted recruitment, reaching out to specific communities, networks, and organisations who we thought would be really interested in this specific opportunity to get involved with our baby computer. In the background, really importantly, we engaged the current volunteers with a plan to also completely refresh the current training and onboarding pathway, which we hoped would open up the role and make it more accessible to those, for example, with less knowledge and less training from different age ranges and different professional backgrounds. We also wanted a training program that would offer them the opportunity to upskill while they were with us and to move through a training pathway whilst being supported and buddied up with a current experienced member of the team. So again, another great opportunity to encourage intergenerational knowledge exchange. This approach, I'm pleased to say, has been hugely successful. We now have 6 volunteers in the team who fall within the age range of 18 to 24 and 25 to 35. And last week, we successfully recruited 2 more young professionals in this age range, and it is still, as I said, very much an ongoing piece of work. They are currently being coached and supported by the current cohort of volunteers, so from a very different generation, who are absolutely delighted with our new approach and the opportunity we've given them to be able to help engage a younger generation, and the platform it's given them to be able to talk about the importance of baby and of the specialist skills that are needed to care for this wonderful object. Now, a second strategy we're also testing at the moment is working with organisations and businesses in Manchester who actually work within related sectors, so engineering, computer software development, for example, who want to offer their staff the opportunity to come and spend employee supported volunteering days with us, specifically in the baby team. This is proving a great opportunity to spotlight our baby volunteer roles amongst working professionals who already have an interest in the subject and are therefore more likely to be open to this type of long-term volunteer role and pick up further opportunities with us. Now, through this project, we have already so far welcomed one very talented young software developer into the volunteer team a month or 2 ago. And the business that we worked with in this particular situation has also supported the museum at other career-focused events, and we're hoping to be able to meet some more of their colleagues very soon to introduce them to opportunities within our volunteer programme. Through this work with our baby computer volunteer team, I can say firm friendships have definitely been made, and our current volunteers are really enjoying learning about the latest advances in technology from our younger volunteers. It's been a wonderful two-way exchange between passionate specialists. Now, finally, this isn't an in-depth sort of case study that I wanted to share with you, but it was a really lovely opportunity for us to put together a one-off event where we could offer a platform for intergenerational learning and intergenerational skill sharing. So we recently facilitated a career-inspired event with the WISE Society from the University of Manchester and a group of existing volunteers at the museum. The WISE Society stands for Women in Science and Engineering. It's made up of female students from the university who are pursuing careers in STEM subject areas. Now, the ambition for the event was to bring women together who are at very different stages in their careers and so, of course, in different age ranges, share their experiences from their careers, from their time in industry, from challenges, thinking about challenges they may have faced, wins they want to share, and to generally help two generations connect. So we asked a group of our existing volunteers to present mini talks to the attendees, highlighting their careers, sharing their experiences, and learning from a variety of different STEM professions. The event offered an opportunity to bring individuals together from different communities, different parts of the city, and with different life experiences as well. It was a great platform for intergenerational learning and skills exchange, but it was also a lovely opportunity for connection, which for me is what volunteering is all about. And one thing I do want to highlight is that this piece of work wasn't a huge project like the other 2 examples I've just talked you through. It was actually a small opportunity, relatively simple to produce and manage, but it really encouraged people of all ages to come together. So I also would like to do a little bit of a shout out here to our wonderful coordinator at SIM, Jessica White, who was really, really integral in making this event special for everybody who attended. And the feedback from all attendees was really, really positive. We know some people decided to use the session to do a little bit of networking as well. And we know some people have stayed in touch following the session, which is just wonderful. That's just what we wanted. And some of the students from the Y Society are in the middle of applying for some of our volunteer roles as well. So it was just a total win-win situation. Now, finally, I thought I'd try and share a few sort of like bits of tips, some learning, maybe that might be helpful for you to take away from the projects that we've been working on to encourage intergenerational volunteering and learning. Well, one of them is, and not one to sound negative, it won't always work. So, you know, it doesn't matter, sort of like the fact that you're bringing together people from different generations. Sometimes personalities just don't mesh. So, you can bring together people, of all different backgrounds, and it doesn't mean that they are going to find connection and be able to sort of like work it together. So, if that happens, please don't let that sort of like, deter you from really trying to encourage him to try and encourage this type of exchange. You may just have to go back to sort of like the drawing board and rethink it. Because personalities don't always mix, and that's okay. We would say it's really important to try different approaches to encourage volunteers of different age ranges to get involved. So really think strategically about how you share in your opportunities across different platforms. Use different formats for your recruitment. Try and tap into different networks. We found hosting open days both on site at the museum, but also by attending community-based events has enabled us to connect with audiences who wouldn't usually engage with our museum. So we kind of took our program out on the road, so to speak, which has worked really well. And I think it's also really important when you want to engage a young generation of volunteers to make sure your roles are as flexible as they can be, because quite often, if you've got young professionals who want to come and support you, they're time limited. So do really think about that if you're creating any roles and opportunities and you specifically want to target a younger demographic. And I also think it's really important to work strategically with your internal departments and outside partners as well. Some of our partnership work with, organisations, whether that be educational organisations, different charities, different businesses, have been really crucial in helping us to get some of these projects off the ground, so to speak, and to try and really diversify our volunteer and placement offer and our volunteer program in general. It's also really great to be able to work in partnership, I think, with organisations who've got shared ambitions as yourself, because it gives you the opportunity to co-create and to share best practice. And this is very much an ongoing learning piece of work for us at the museum. But so far, we're seeing really, really positive results.